be like, detect you're pregnant 15 days before your missed period, or again, don't think that's possible. And detect you're pregnant before you're even pregnant. Whew, okay, it's kind of warm in here. Okay. Hi everyone, so I am finally filming my false positive pregnancy test video. A false positive pregnancy test, I had never heard of it. I didn't even think it was possible. I do work in the medical field. I'm a medical laboratory technician, but specifically concentrated in microbiology. But I do have understanding of how the tests work and such. So essentially a pregnancy test does detect a certain kind of hormone in your system. It's called HCG. And there are so many different kinds of pregnancy tests now. You can have a pregnancy test that detects 5 days before your missed period, and all these possibilities which will make detecting a miscarriage or a chemical pregnancy or a molar pregnancy, which are all kinds of pregnancies, but it is early stage pregnancy loss, very, very soon. So before, women would have never known that they even were experiencing a miscarriage or early pregnancy loss, and now you're able to. Anyways, back to me. So in 2018, it was October 3rd, 2018. My cycles were pretty irregular. I am usually a 33 to 34 day cycler, and my period was now on cycle day 49. So that is, and it hadn't come yet. So I, for some reason, was suspecting maybe possibly pregnant. I think anything past, I think a week or two past my usual cycle, I started to get a little bit worried. Who doesn't? You know, I know stress, losing weight, gaining weight rapidly, all these factors can affect your menstrual cycle. But as a woman who is sexually active, you are going to think, maybe I'm pregnant, let me just take a test, because it does ease your mind. In a sense, I guess, buying the test stresses you out, but in a way, once you get the result, you know, okay, don't have to worry about it, I must just be stressed out or something. So I did go and buy, I purchased some tests at my local drugstore. They were just the typical line test, so you pee on it, the test detects the hormone, and then if it is there, the 2 lines appear, and if not, you have the 1 line. So I took the test, I think it was in the morning, and it was negative. I can't remember now because this happened 2 years ago exactly, my course of action, but I was confused too. I remember asking my friend, can I take a pregnancy test with you? I'm just a little bit nervous, and she's one of my friends, she lives super close by, super comforting just to do something like this with her. And I just didn't want to be alone because I was really, really stressed out. I don't exactly remember why. I know I was going through some serious mood swings. I remember feeling pretty depressed the couple weeks prior to this. Things were just off. I was concerned. Didn't really know what was happening. And I just wanted to take another test, so I ended up getting the digital test, the Clearblue digital test, which is foolproof, because the line test I think was a little confusing, and I just wanted confirmation. I'm pretty sure I had only purchased a single test because I'm kind of cheap and didn't want to purchase more. I really should have purchased, I've never bought the dollar store pee sticks. I heard those are really great, but I never have. But anyways, yeah, for whatever reason, that first test I didn't trust it, so I wanted to take another test, and I ended up going with the Clearblue Digital because it was foolproof. And again, so that Clearblue came with two tests in the package. So I went over to my friend's now. This is like later at night. I remember it being dark, and she had previously gone on vacation somewhere, and I'm just trying to make small talk with her. I take the test, and it takes 3 minutes for it. We're sitting there and waiting for it to turn. I ask her, oh, how was your vacation? And then she turns to me with this dazed look and goes, your test is positive. Crystal, you're pregnant. And I'm like, what the f***? Literally, moment of shock. I just could not believe it. because the test in the morning was kind of inconclusive, but I'm pretty sure after the 3-minute waiting period, it only had one line, but I don't know, I just didn't believe it. I could not believe it. I also do remember kind of having weird cramp-like sensations, I think, which I usually get before my period or during ovulation, so I also think that was another suspicion that, oh, maybe I'm just getting my period or something. But it was positive, excuse my French, but I immediately called my now fiance, and I remember just freaking out. I was still living at home with my dad and my family. My fiance, boyfriend then, was living at home with his parents. So 2018, that was 2 years ago. I'm 27 now, so I was 25. I just started a new job. I had just graduated school a year prior. I was just literally like not adulting yet. I was still just so young mentally. I'm 25. I know there are people that have kids at 16 and younger, and they are amazing parents, and I think that's incredible, but I just am an anxious person. I didn't feel financially stable. I felt like, oh no, I just cannot believe it. Like, holy shit. I don't feel like we are in a place financially or structurally with our living situation where I'd want to have a child. Also, we're not married. And also, our family, one of our family members had previously was experiencing difficulty getting pregnant, which also made this be, while it would be a blessing, it would also be a little bit like, shit. I feel like, I don't know, I'm sorry that I'm pregnant and you're not, and I didn't even try, and not necessarily that I don't want this, but I wasn't expecting this. You kind of feel bad that you're pregnant and someone, like, accidentally, and someone else is trying to get pregnant and they can't. So I don't know what the word I'm looking for but you feel like they're gonna hate you, or you feel afraid and scared and almost ashamed that this has happened to you out of the structure it's supposed to, So anyways, all that happening, I'm freaking out. It was a Wednesday, so obviously, like, I think I didn't have work or something. I'm part-time, so, that's normal for me not to have work on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And my boyfriend, fiance, I'm just going to say fiance, it's just easier. So my fiance had work, obviously, so he has to go to work and stuff, like, can't just take work off. Also, like, I'm not really sure what's happening, so I obviously can't sleep. I'm freaking out, stressed out, because this is just a scary situation. So, I had a positive pregnancy test. So then, it's now the next day. I finally wake up. I think I did get maybe a couple hours of sleep, and I have that one other digital clear blue test. So I just say, you know what, I want to confirm, so I'm going to take it this morning. And also, first morning urine is very concentrated. It's going to have more of that hormone that's going to detect that you're pregnant. I take the test, freaking out. Also felt really crampy, like really weird, like if I was going to get my period. And the test was negative. It said negative. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, I took a test last night after drinking all day, drinking water, not alcohol, and it was positive. So obviously my hormone detection in the test would have been more diluted, I assume, than my first morning urine, which would be more concentrated in that hormone. So it was negative. It just did not make sense scientifically or logically. So I'm just like, okay, so am I pregnant? Am I not? Am I now experiencing a miscarriage? Which also is kind of like concerning. It's like, you immediately think, am I pregnant? Am I losing the baby? Is something wrong with me? And then also I start thinking, because having a family is something I really want, I'm like, oh God, if I am experiencing a miscarriage, is that normal? Does that mean I can't get pregnant? Is this like the first signs that there's something wrong with my body? I just start spiraling and I'm like, ah! So thankfully, my primary care doctor, they happen to have walk-in clinics on Thursday, and what do you know, it's Thursday. So I call them, tell them like what's going on, and I go in. And also, by the way, I did get my period. So that morning, I can't remember if it's before taking the pregnancy test or after. The course of that morning where I had the negative test, I ended up bleeding. So I did get my period, and it was a full-on bleed. And I did have cramping and all this sensation that was like, this makes sense that I'm getting a period. And then I also had the negative test. But anyways, I'm still unsure, and I know a blood test is going to be more accurate. It's more sensitive, so that means it can pick up a smaller amount of the hormone in your body rather than a pregnancy P test, which needs to pick up a larger concentration. So it can pick up a lower concentration of the hormone. So no matter how pregnant you are, even if it's in the sooner period, it's more likely it's going to pick up in a blood test than a P test. So I go there, I go to the doctor, make small talk with her. She's super great, nice looking, great eyebrows, and super friendly, and tell her what's going on, and tell her like, yo, I had a positive pregnancy test yesterday and now it's negative. I think I actually had the pregnancy test with me in my bag, but I never showed her. But anyway, she was like, you know what, the same thing actually happened to me a couple weeks ago. And she's like, girl, I'm pushing 40 and there's no way I want a baby in this oven. You know, she's like, I can't believe that there'd be a baby in this oven. And she's like, took a test, it was positive, then took other tests, they were negative. So I was like, okay, I guess this does happen. And I was like, I'm gonna sue Clear Blue for like the anxiety and stress that it caused me and my partner. I was like, what if I was 16 and like told my parents that I'm pregnant, and then turns out I'm not pregnant? You know, the amount of like emotional distress that would cause. But anyways, I was like, were these tests just wired weirdly? So anyways, she does a blood test, she does a urine test, she calls me in a few hours. The urine test obviously came back negative immediately at the office, and then she calls me in a few hours and says, hey, your blood pregnancy test is negative, you are not pregnant. I was like, thank you, Jesus! But anyways, so I was just like, what? I call my friend, my friend's mom, like, I remember when we found out I was pregnant, well, we thought I was the night before, my friend's mom, like, was there, and she knew. I'm, like, freaking out. Like, my friend's mom's there, she knows I'm pregnant, and I'm 25, which is, like, fine, but it's still embarrassing and awkward and blah. And then, yeah, just, like, just kidding, Wendy, I'm not pregnant, okay? But anyways, it's just crazy. I mean, the emotions and the roller coaster, and oh my god, then I can finally tell my fiance that I'm not pregnant, and like we can all breathe easy. I mean, I never told my parents in any of this, only my closest friends knew, and Wendy, of course. But it's just one of those things where it goes to show this shit happens. And now my recommendation is that if you suspect you are pregnant, I recommend peeing in a cup. That way you have your urine on hand to take multiple pregnancy tests instead of just your one stream, 30 seconds, it's gone. Now you have to wait hours until you pee again. Yes, capture your urine in a cup. What I recommend doing is going and buying a pregnancy test. And say you just want one pregnancy test, buy another pregnancy test of a different company. So that way there's two different lots, two different manufacturers. That way, if they both say positive, you can expect that you're pregnant. But if one of them's positive and one of them's negative, then maybe there's just a screw up in that lot or that batch. If you happen to buy those 2-in-a-box kits, I again recommend doing the same thing. But obviously, yes, you want to take both tests in the same lot, and you want to see if you get the same result. And then now continue and take a test in a separate manufacturer, because something can happen. Sometimes processing does go wrong. Maybe wires are switched. Maybe something in the building process of that pregnancy test did go wrong and the whole lot is screwed up. There could be a whole lot of false positive pregnancy tests that are wired wrong or something out there with these digital tests.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And if you're going to take a pregnancy test, get 2 different company manufacturer brands, 2 different brands. That way you can know for sure that that box isn't just screwed up and giving you a weird result. And that same thing goes to show if you, it could be negative and you're actually pregnant and there's something wrong with the test and it's just defective. So I do recommend getting two different manufacturers and testing separately and 2 different times apart. That way you can know for sure. And then if you're still in doubt, even if you are sure you're pregnant, it is always recommended that you now go to your doctor and confirm how far along you are, is your pregnancy healthy, and then what further steps to take after that. So, how did this happen? How the hell did this happen? So, I did some research on how I could have possibly had a false pregnancy test. A piece of me does still believe it was just a manufacturer defect, because I really don't understand. And plus my doctor had said that the same thing kind of happened to her, where she got a positive reading on a digital test and then the next test was negative. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe my test was just, again, a really weird anomaly where, again, it was a bad batch of tests and they were, it was positive. That one test was wired weird, but again, I had 2 in the same box and one was positive, one was negative, so those had to be the same lot. And again, so I'm more so kind of leaning towards that I had a chemical pregnancy and I just caught it really, really early. And like I said, these clear blue digital tests and tests now, I'm sure like 5 years or 10 years from now, there's going to be a test that's like, can detect you're pregnant before you're even pregnant. Like, I'm just kidding, but that's not possible. But it's going to be like, detect you're pregnant 15 days before your missed period or something crazy like that, you know? Again, don't think that's possible. But, yeah, so that is my story, and, if you enjoyed this, please let me know below, and, thanks for watching. I think I said everything I'm supposed to.